Hey everybody, welcome back to another new episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. We are ending our Star Trek three-part series talking about the Star Trek movies, and we will be doing a deep dive into ChatGPT and pulling out our own, our own Star Trek movie with a cast and plot summary and everything. So let's get geeky.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt, aka Grumpy Beard. With me, as always, is John, aka Captain Lestache.
That's right, boys and girls. Yes, and again, whatever you want to be called. Yes, anyways, no, we are going to be diving into our now last part of our little Star Trek series that we've been going on here. But, I will say that, for many years, looking at Star Trek, it's just, we've talked about a lot of series, I feel like, and they've been like iconic and, really have changed a lot of, I'd say, in history. Like this one has changed. Like even just the name Star Trek has changed history, right? So, when you look back at I always mention this, and I'm going to keep mentioning it, the guy who created the cell phone, prime example, literally got the idea of making a cell phone from the literally communicators that they were using. The Space Force nowadays took the damn logo of Star Trek and said that, oh, no, it's our original idea. No, it is not.
No, it's
you
not.
cannot tell me that if you took the same logo and you put them together, there's been multiple people over the internet that have said Space Force and Star Trek, literally, this is the future of what the Space Force would become. Now, I agree that it very well could be, but again, all I'm saying is that Star Trek has done a lot for our culture and our history and so forth, and it's just made it really a cultural phenomenon that, like I've said before, well, actually really what we both said before, like Star Wars, Marvel in general, like, DC, like they've changed certain things too, and they've done all this stuff. But, when you've literally changed, I feel like history in some ways like that. I mean, that just says a lot about a show or a movie or something that's basically making it on a bigger scale. I mean, we're talking millions of people that have enjoyed Star Trek for over now 60 years, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just crazy to me that when you look at that and it's been going on for so long. Now, at some point, like we said, when is enough? When do you call it quits? When do you say, you know what? I'm done. Here's all your content. There you go. It's all you're getting. Like where do you stop? Where do you call it quits?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Now, granted, I mean, I know like I said, we're going to be talking about like the films and stuff like that, but the realization is like, you can only do so much, and then, you can do your reboots, you can do your whatevers, right? Or you can make your own timelines for that matter, for whatever you want to call it, the Kelvin timeline and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, where, we've talked about this, like, where do you call it?
I mean, you have to somehow branch off and create new content, but it's kind of like where do you draw the line of creating new content? But before we move on, I do want to do our YouTube channel shout out, because we do have our audio episodes. Yes, they do drop on Spotify and Amazon and all those other podcasts, apps and
the jazz
whatever,
and everything.
But our YouTube channel also our episodes do drop there as well.
Yes, we make sure that, and granted, it's not the video. Yes, we understand, but at least you can hear us audible. I can't even say it, man. Audio-wise, you can hear us, okay? You can hear us through your ears, okay? Unfortunately, you can't see us. But you know what?
Right,
honestly,
you
don't want to see us. I'm sorry. It's just probably not a good look right now.
You don't want to see us, but
we're good.
At least on YouTube, you can still hear us. All of our episodes drop there, but we have our AI music. We have our little shorts, our YouTube shorts that we have there, little short segments from our episodes that we've posted there. So there is a lot of content that's on our YouTube channel. So, you can go there and share it out and watch some of our content and subscribe.
Well, and I know Matt's, I know he's going to mention this in a second, but, Matt decided besides just being an author, he said, you know what? Fuck it. Why not become an artist? Because he said, you know what? I'm going to dabble in music. And I said, okay. And this guy now has an actual album. Yes, I kid you not, an actual album on Spotify. Okay. I believed it. I was waiting for him to finally drop it. But yes, now it is officially on Apple, Spotify. What was it? Amazon Music? What was it? iHeart?
And iHeartMedia. And it's on many other platforms too. But yes, it's on many different platforms, and you can actually find me. It's Grumpy Beard.
Yes, it's Grumpy Beard together. I had to find that out the hard way. And it's spelled with a 3 as for the E in that, just so you're aware of it. But yes, now one of the songs, the reason why he did this one, it was more of an inside joke between us a long time ago, but there's one called GFY. If you listen to it, it's something that him and I have we've always joked about, hell, when we first started the podcast, we really wanted to incorporate GFY, but we realized that probably wasn't a good look, when you actually know what GFY actually stands for and whatnot. I mean, people can be creative, use your imagination, but, we were we really wanted to incorporate that into our, maybe one day, a business idea or something like that. And then we're like, I don't think we really want to explain to people what really GFY stands for. So we're like, no. So of course he was like, oh, well, why don't I just make a song about, a joke about it? So you hear certain things.
So yeah, I mean, I first released the single of the song, just kind of testing the distribution service that I joined.
Yes.
But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just make it one of the tracks on the album.
Yep.
But the album that I released is actually called AI Shit Show.
Yep.
And that is actually the title song on the album. It's not GFY, but
no.
The title track is called AI Shit Show.
I mean, I would say GFY is it's like a lead single. Right, it's one of those ones that I would say it helps bring the album kind of closer together. But no, I mean, so far from what I've heard, I mean, it's definitely good, And I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm just saying, listening to music wise, listening to. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely some songs on there. You're going to be like, "What the fuck am I listening to?" And why did I just listen to this?
Of course, and that's kind of like the idea behind it. It's yes. AI has created the music behind it, but for the most part, I have written the lyrics to it, and it's taken a lot of. I mean, you've seen.
I've seen it.
You've been behind the scenes to. I mean, it's taken months of work to get the tracks actually made and processed and EQ'd properly, and actually to get this thing going.
I mean, so here's the thing, guys. It's just like if you think about what we've been doing for. Going now, like I said, we've been doing this now for 2 years and kind of doing this. I mean, granted, Matt is a master. I'm going to say it. He's a master of his trade when it comes to editing and, making things make sense and flowing and all that stuff. So again, this is something that I know he could do well in, but when you're taking the time and you're, having to again, also kind of learning about AI a little bit, kind of learning the different mechanics of this. And then on top of that, using the technology that you have and the skills that you have all together at the same time. And then it's a lot of manpower. It's a lot of work that, you don't expect that it's going to happen when you think, oh, AI is just going to do it all and then call it a day. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
You still do your own work. You still do.
It did not happen that way. And I mean, I'm very, very glad that the songs came out the way they did. And they're not perfect. They're not perfect by a long shot. I mean, some of the way that the AI says certain words and phrases are, I'm like, hey, this is exactly why I called the album AI Shit Show, because the whole album is an AI shit show, and that's exactly what it is.
I think the one song besides the actual song AI Shit Show that I truly was like, what the hell is this song? Is kid you not? The song is called Dougla.
Oh yeah, okay? That song is a trippy mindfuck. Yes,
that one. When I just heard it a second ago before we started this, I was like, "What the fuck am I listening to right now?" So my point is when you hear it, take it for what it is, okay? You're talking to a guy who literally just like created some shit, was hoping to just figure it out, kind of like,
It's
do
the
some
way-
random shit about it,
It's the way AI should be used. We should be using AI for comedy and for fun, not for, to control military drones
not for
and
that
military purposes. We should be using it for fun. And this is exactly what the album is. It's for fun. But I did want to play you a very short 30-second clip of the title track.
And before we go forward, just keep in mind, this isn't copyrighted. Guess what? The whole thing is owned. Okay, there is no like worrying about like somebody's trying to sue
Oh, no,
us. or
yeah,
anything
this
like
is
that.
ours. Yeah.
So whatever he's about to play, it's legit.
Oh, yeah, so here it is. AI shit show.
Tried to load a love song, but my hard drive crashed instead. Now my lyrics make no sense, and this riff is in my head. Oh no! It's an AI shit show. Everything's gone wrong. My auto-tune is losing it, and this verse is way too long. Somebody pull the plug. I think I broke the sound. This punk rock mod is glitching out, and I can't shut it down.
And see, and that was just
there you
a
go.
short little clip of that. And
Yeah. So if you look me up on Spotify or Amazon Music or iHeartMedia, wherever you go to listen to music, just give me some plays. If you purchase it, I thank you a lot for that. But just,
Yeah.
but just help me out. Give me some plays. Just spam the crap out of it. I really, really do appreciate it. It goes a long way because then Spotify will hopefully feature me as an artist and put me in some of their featured playlists, and that will go a long way to, putting some of the music on the map.
Right, putting the music. I mean, now granted, even though Mr. Grumpy Beard is technically, part of the podcast, but the whole point of our down the road kind of business plan was to not just be the podcast. We were also thinking of doing other branches of different
Right.
stuff. So this is just
different
one
media,
step
right?
of that process. So again, it's going to be a part of the business as a whole. But again, it helps us out in the long run. Literally, hopefully that's the whole goal, is to get us out there even further and not just in one state or even maybe one country. Maybe try to get, maybe we get our Ireland folks like we've been, waiting to finally get it.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyways, yes. No, back to the, Star Trek here. So let me.
So yeah, I've kind of broken this up because there are a lot of movies, and breaking these up into, so there's the original series films, there's the next generation films, and then there's the kind of Kelvin timeline films.
Yes, the good old reboot.
So we'll kind of start, I guess, with the original series films, and this is, I guess, kind of like behind the scenes information, because when the Star Trek the original series was canceled in 1969. That was 1969. Gene Roddenberry had first suggested that Star Trek would continue, and he lobbied for it to continue as a film franchise.
Before we go any further, Wheel of Chaos.
Oh boy.
He's like, damn it. So yes, I know we
You might
didn't-
have to explain that for people.
So we kind of mentioned this in the very beginning of our seasonal, like opening of our first episode. But basically what we're trying to do now is we're going to start doing random moments like this. And I figured this would be the perfect time right before we started going any further.
Of course, I get to start it.
Of course, buddy, because you wanted to play around. Because the problem is you're gonna do it back to me at some point too. So whether I like it or not, it's gonna happen. I just figured I'd do it to you since you're the one that made it. But anyway, so what he did is there's a bunch of basically different voices that we would have to portray as for a certain amount of time, which I would assume now is what, like two-ish minutes, we'll say, depending on what we're doing.
Yeah, I would say probably somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Depends on the voice and how long somebody can keep it up.
That's true. So depending on what it lands on, so let's say if it's Yoda, that means
I swear to God, if it's not Yoda.
You know,
I don't think I can keep up Yoda for 2 minutes.
Or somebody like that, right? So the whole point is like whatever it lands on, you would do that voice. So if it's somebody that's, let's say, a British accent, or it was Yoda, if it was Samuel Jackson, you know, like whatever it is, right? The whole point is you would do
Samuel Jackson on.
That would be fun. Oh, buddy, that would be funny to put on there, but not the point. The point is so now what Matt's going to do is you're going to hear a noise. It's going to go, you know, it's going to do its thing, and then whatever it lands on, it's going to go bing, and then basically that's what the voice we have to do. So in this case, Matt, go ahead and spin that wheel of chaos,
baby. Spin the wheel of chaos. Here it goes.
Here we go.
We're getting there.
We get. What was the first voice? What is it?
Oh, boy.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
Deep voice mode.
Oh, yes. I mean, now, granted, I know he's not good. I mean, he's got a semi-deep, but not like enough to.
All right. I'm going to need some water for this.
I'm going to need some water for this because my voice is going to get really dry.
So the only one I could think of was I was just mentioning him earlier, Tyler, you know, so.
All right,
here we go.
Okay,
go for it.
So Gene Roddenberry had first suggested.
I'm sorry.
I can't continue this so very long.
Nope, you got to do it for a whole minute then at least. Keep going.
God damn it.
Sorry, keep going. I'm trying, man.
I'm trying.
I'm trying not to do the. You go ahead.
It's really difficult.
Is it?
It really is.
So Gene Roddenberry had suggested that the series would go through film franchise instead of a series, but Paramount scrapped the idea in 1977.
Okay.
And they returned to the franchise roots with a new television series, which was their phase 2. And that was obviously their next gen.
Oh, is that right?
I believe.
Is that what is okay? You know, you're lucky you didn't throw one. At least one of the voices wasn't like.
That has to be at least fucking 2 minutes.
No, that wasn't 2 minutes. That wasn't even close to being 2 minutes. That I'm just giving. You know what? Fine, I'll give you a reprieve, even though I wouldn't say that was a full 2 minutes.
Good Lord.
Who am I thinking of? I'm literally drawing a blank, and it's driving me nuts. Kirk from the original series. I'm just speaking to myself here. Like, did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't.
Clearly, because I just was like, okay, is he going to speak now, or am I just sitting here in silence? All right, we're trying this again. So who is the voice of the original Kirk?
Who is the voice?
Not the actor I meant.
William Shatner.
Thank you. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. So at one point I was trying to say at least you didn't put William Shatner into that little wheel of chaos there, because that would have been funny. I feel like that would have been a really good tribute in this moment right now.
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking of just Star Trek. I mean,
well,
Wheel of Chaos goes far beyond.
No, I just thought it would be funny if it landed on that, particularly just for.
So, I mean, just in general, like the whole idea with Star Trek moving into, a film franchise, obviously Paramount kind of scrapped that idea. And, with Star Wars being this like massive, like worldwide box office success, like they moved to do, and they're at the time, Columbia came out with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So it was kind of like weighing these options, and Star Trek wasn't made until 1979. Right. So
I'm listening.
Star Trek the motion picture was made in 1979. And then, that followed with The Wrath of Khan.
Before you go any further, I love how their naming scheme. Star Trek, the motion picture. Like, you couldn't just named it Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like, why would you want to put the motion picture right after that? Or, like, why not have, like, Star Trek, the beginning? Or, you know what or something. Like, not the motion picture. You know, because then you start to look at The Wrath of Khan. Okay, cool. The Search for Spock. The Voyage Home. The Final Frontier. Like, why the motion picture? It doesn't make sense to me.
I think that's just what they named.
I mean, I get it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't you think you'd have like a different title, like Star Trek, blah, blah, blah? Whatever. You know, not the motion picture.
I mean, that's what they called a lot of movies back then, though.
That's just weird.
They were motion pictures.
I get that they were motion pictures, but why did they need to name it in the titles? That's the only thing I didn't understand.
I don't know.
It's a dumb scheme. Anyways,
I don't know that.
It's just dumb. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, no, I mean, you know, for the originals, I know that, yeah, this, I would say the originals were probably the more, I'd say, prominent films that, you know, most people would be watching. I'm not saying that they wouldn't watch The Next Generation or something like that, but I would say that people would probably watch the originals probably more often.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're, you know, I think some of the movies did better than the others. I mean, obviously the first one, and I think The Voyage Home and The Wrath of Khan are the more popular of these movies. Not that, you know, The Search for Spock or The Final Frontier or Undiscovered Country aren't you know, good ones, but I think when you're looking at all of these movies, I mean, you have 6 movies?
Well, because if
altogether with the original series movies, there's 6.
Right, but then when you look back at the fact that the show was out from 66 to, what was it, 69?
Yeah.
So then they waited a 10-year gap between the original series and then the first motion picture here to then finally start doing those. To me, I think they would have just, if they were smart, which, whatever, they had a plan, I guess, you know, they would have done the series and then like little shortly after they would have done those films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe it was because of the technology or whatever they wanted to do, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's why Star Wars did what they did. You know, they didn't have the technology, so they, you know, whatever. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe that was the case, or maybe it was just, they're just like, we'll just wait 10 years and then we'll finally do it. You know, whatever. I don't know. It just depends on which way you look at it. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they just, you know, their idea was to fully transition into just doing movies.
I guess just the 10-year gap. That was the only thing for me. You know, if the series ended in 69, you know, you have 10 years of.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think there was really anything other than, I mean, from 69 to The Next Gen, I don't think there was anything other than the movies.
Well, no. Well, that's what I'm saying is like,
yeah,
there's, you know what I mean? Like when you have a 10-year gap from the TV show to now,
even I think even the cartoons were
probably had to be
like 75 to
yeah, so it was later, right? So that was the thing. You're waiting already at least a few years or more just to get something from Star Trek at this point. Which, like I said, I would have thought if you're going to keep it up, then you would have, you know, maybe waited a year or two.
I mean, I'm sure you still had reruns and other things that you still were watching, but yeah, I get what you're saying. You're going 10 years and then all of a sudden you get, you know,
a
Star Trek movie, you know, and then 82, 84, 86, 89, 90, you know, 91.
All with the original cast, I'm assuming.
All with the original cast. You know, I don't think we have to break down every plot of every movie. Like, I mean, The Wrath of Khan, like that was one I truly remember because I think The Wrath of Khan was one that was more memorable. You know, they go back in time and, you know, there's really memorable scenes in that one.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like when I was talking about it earlier, I was like, I would say watching these would be probably more memorable, or like more people would be apt to watch them versus like some of the like the next generation, kind of films and stuff like that. Because I'm not saying they weren't as popular, but like those already, in 82, 86, like that, like people are like, oh yeah, I want to watch that because it's the original crew, it's the original storyline and everything.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, yes, they're older than they were.
Well, yes, back then, but yes.
Yeah. In 84 was A Search for Spock. That one is, it's not as good, but it's still with the original crew. The Voyage Home. That one is they're trying to save humpback whales.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. But they learn that the Earth is under siege by a giant probe, transmitting a destructive signal, and they're trying to communicate with a now extinct species of humpback whales.
Oh, lovely.
So they have to travel back in time.
Oh, of course they do.
To obtain a mating pair of the whales to bring them back into the future so that they can.
Man, they had some crazy ideas back then.
Oh, yeah, they did. Then 89, they did The Final Frontier. And 91 was Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
So that was the Undiscovered Country was kind of their send-off. That was a send-off for the original cast. And kind of the transition into
the
next generation movies.
Well, because the original series for the next gen was that I keep forgetting, that was what, like around that same time when they were doing the 91, 92 ish
for the
next gen, like for them to get,
I want to say the next generation started like 88 or 80 something.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought it was like the early 90s.
No, it started before that.
Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong. No, I mean, and like I said, with the next gen, films and stuff, I'm not, and this is why I've said just a second ago, like, I'm not saying it's not as iconic, but, I feel.
Yeah, it was 88.
Was it 88? Okay.
88 to 94, which is when.
Oh, gotcha. They started clearly the movie.
Generation started the first movie was in 94, so it was it was right when the show had ended.
Okay. No, I mean, interesting. I was looking at the Star Trek Nemesis here. I didn't realize Tom Hardy was a Picard clone. And also had Ron Perlman. That's okay. See, there you go.
Yeah, they were both
no idea. No, like I said, I just feel like it's just like I said, man. I feel like you're almost comparing apples. Apple's. I can't speak today. Apples and oranges between the next generation and the original series. When it comes to like films wise, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't seem like you can really compare the two because again, the original clearly, yes, it's the OG. It's the one that started this whole thing. But for some people, the next generation, that's what they grew up on. So that's what they know.
I think some of the newer, the next gen movies are better because the technology was better.
Well, and I think in the 90s, sure.
I think that's where you're kind of getting. You have a younger Enterprise crew.
True.
You have better technology. They're using better technology. I think you just have you're looking at two different types of Enterprise crews where, the original movies, you have Kirk, you have Spock, you have Sulu, you have all of those original crew members. And
right.
Scotty had to be what, in his 60s?
Oh yeah, he was,
oh yeah. Spock had to be what, probably in his, 50s, 60s.
You're talking about in the, like the the movies wise, not so much the TV. That's what I was like, wait a minute, not in the TV show. They weren't that old. I didn't think it.
Well, I mean, you're looking at the characters, and I mean, they're all older. I mean, you look at
yes, in the movies, yes.
You look at Picard. I mean, Picard had to be much younger than that. Still.
Well, I mean, wait a minute.
You look at Geordi. You look at. I mean, you look at any of those characters, and they're probably still in their prime because they're still young, even in those movies.
Now I got to look this up. You keep talking. I'm curious about something.
I mean, yeah, their show started in '88, but they would have been young enough to be, a starship captain and in their positions. But in '94, they still would have been pretty young. You're talking somebody who was captain in '66. Granted, I know it wasn't 1966, but you're still talking, from 1966, now you're talking they did the original movie, the motion picture, in 75, and their last movie was in 1991, then before that, 1989, 1986, 1984. So you're almost talking 20 years older, each of them 20 years older.
So I had to look up the actual ages of both William Shatner and Patrick Stewart, just to compare the difference of ages. Okay, I can't even believe this. How old do you think William Shatner is right now? Just out of curiosity, if you had to take a guess.
Right now, William Shatner, I'd probably say somewhere in his 60s, like mid 60s.
So I'm clear. You think he's in his mid 60s right now?
I would say probably mid 60s.
You're not going to believe me. You're really not going to believe it. Guys, I didn't even believe this. Ready? He's 93 years old.
What?
Hold on. Ready? You know when he was born? 1931.
Holy crap.
Okay. Now, how old do you think Patrick Stewart is? Now, when you look at him, you think, oh, shit, he's pretty old now.
I don't think he's 93.
No, well, he's definitely not. No, he's definitely not 93, but he's kind of up there.
I probably would have to say close to 70.
So just because I want to go back and make sure I get this correct. He is 84 years old.
What?
And he was born in 1940. I'm just telling you, man. Like this is the kind of
this
shit.
This motherfucker just played Picard in a series.
Look at that. He's 84.
He's 84 years old.
Look, I didn't believe William Shatner being 93.
I could barely get up and go to work, and this guy's running around as Picard at 84 years old.
Well, William Shatner is at 93 years old, and I don't even know if he's still acting, but goddamn. I mean, 93. And this guy is 84.
Ugh.
Dude, but I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why we can't find the perfect, Professor X, but that's just a different story. No, but it's just, you're right. I know it's just, and I know it was kind of like a weird fact, but like, yes, I would say in the show back in the 90s, I mean, granted, now you know that he was actually a lot older than he was, probably than you thought.
But I mean, you're talking, I mean, you're looking, okay, Star Trek, A Voyage Home. This was Star Trek 4, yep. A Voyage Home was done in 86. That's 20 years after the series started.
Uh-huh.
So if you're saying, Kirk was 30, he would have to at least be 50 in that show.
You mean in the movies, yeah.
In the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In this movie, he would at least have to be 50. Yeah.
Now, mind you, when you look at, Stewart in the 80s, right, if he was born in 40, he was already 40 years old at that point-ish, right? And so, like, when he was done in the 90s, yeah, we'll see, close to getting in his 50s. So it's crazy to see how you're both, like, you probably never would have thought that Patrick Stewart back then was, like, probably 40 years old in that, technically show and everything else. Because I would have thought he would have been younger. Oh, no. Again, a lot older than you thought. Because by the time he was done, and plus, like you just said, when he just finished Picard, which was last year, I think, right? Because I couldn't remember exactly. Like they ended that show. Was it last year?
They ended the show. I mean, he didn't die on the show, but
No, I was just saying they ended the show like recently. I know that. So like when I just mentioned that he was 84, just saying.
yeah.
It's a lot to look at. You just don't believe that. I didn't even believe that William Shatner was 93 years old. He definitely did not look like he was 93. Like it was mind-boggling to me.
Right.
But anyways,
No, it is, and
even you're stunned because
I definitely did not know that he was 93.
that's why I said I was like, what? No, that's a lie.
Yeah.
No, that's apparently the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely did not know that he was 93.
I had to look up the age because I was so curious to know how old they really were now. But that tells you a lot, man. That tells you a lot right there.
Yeah. So, according to Google,
Oh, the good old Googles here.
James T. Kirk became captain of the Enterprise when he was 32.
Okay, so 32 years old.
So, by the time movie number 4 were to come out, he would have been 52.
Yeah, 20 years
At least 52.
ish. Yeah.
So, yeah, he was born March 22nd, 2233. And he became captain at 2265.
Okay,
There you go.
there you go. Now, what about Picard there? Was he younger than him, or was he just about
Let me put it into the Googles and I'll let you know.
Googles? Okay.
Picard became captain of the. This says he became captain of the Stargazer at 28.
Oh boy. That means he was younger than good old Kirk there.
Hold on, let me put in Enterprise so that I get that age.
'Cause I'm wondering if he's going to be the same age or younger.
This, I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, watch it be like 25.
No, I don't quite know if this is. It says that his age was never actually said
In the show?
in the show. But it says the age that he was captain of the Enterprise was 59.
Holy shit.
I don't know if that's right.
No, I don't think that was right. I don't think that's right at all. 59.
I don't
Get out of here.
think that.
I don't think that's right. I don't know what that is exactly, but I don't think that's right. I think it probably would have been around the same age as, Kirk. Because like, I don't know if it was the same age or maybe just a slight bit older.
Yeah, so I don't quite know.
Anyways,
I mean, even this thing says he was 59. So
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
it says he was 65 when the series ended,
Well then,
and then Picard, the former captain, is 94.
oh, so you're saying he's playing a hell of a lot older in the newer show?
Yeah. Could you imagine being 50? You take control of the Enterprise at 59 years old.
At that point, you'll be like, "Bitch, I'm retiring. I don't want to do this anymore."
At 59, you became a captain at 28.
Well, that sucks. But that's like almost 40 years.
You take control of the Enterprise at 59. Like, you should be fucking admiral.
That's what I was gonna say. Like 30 years of this shit, and you're like, no, you know what it reminds me of? I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad. Here's
Here's
your
your fucking ship, you piece of shit. At 59 years old, that's fucking insane.
All right, so Star Trek had 4 movies, and they did Generations and First Contact. That was their first 2. Those ones were praised for their compelling storylines, character development, and the successful transition of the series into their cinematic format, which was kind of like introducing the Borg meeting Kirk and Picard. Not the Borg meeting Kirk and Picard, but the Borg, and then us meeting both Kirk and Picard at the same time, because that was what Generations did. It was
Okay,
them
so
kind of meeting
bridging the
each
gap.
other and transition.
Oh, I see. So Kirk was there when that happened.
Yeah, that was kind of like what Generations was. It was kind of like the kind of switching of the guard, if you will.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
But that's where it was like you finally get to see Picard and Kirk kind of meeting, and it was like, oh, cool, that but the Borg being introduced in First Contact became kind of like that defining moment of the Next Generation movies. But then after that, you had Insurrection, which was in '98, and then Nemesis, which, like we said, starred Tom Hardy. He was a Picard clone, but I think he was like a Romulan.
He looked like an agent or something. Yeah,
he looked different, but he was I think like the Romulans cloned him to be like the same as.
I just find it weird because Tom Hardy is not that. He's really not that old. I just didn't. I don't. You know what I mean? Like unless he played like a. He had to be like
at that point. No, he wasn't. He wasn't like
even well known.
He wasn't he's not the Tom Hardy that was like
Batman.
Oh, Batman.
Oh,
Batman.
You know? See, that's a great one we should have on there.
Oh, Batman.
Oh, Batman. How are you doing, Batman? That would be a fun one. You should put that in there. That's all I'm going to say.
Batman.
You're right. You're going to update that Wheel of Chaos is all I'm going to say.
Talking about a Wheel of Chaos.
You son
Here
of
we go.
Son of a bitch. All right. What do we got? Come on.
All right. Let's do it.
I fucking hate you right now because I don't like this. I was afraid of this.
There's no sound.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, it's not as effective. It's fine. All right. What do we got? Please tell me. I don't want it. Somewhat stupid. I don't like this. I really hate this now. I don't like this anymore.
Oh.
Fuck. What did I get?
You got Arnold.
Oh, my God. I mean, at least I could do them, but I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do it, though.
All right, Arnold.
Oh, God. Of course, I don't have water, man. This sucks. What are we starting with? Before I get started, I need to know where we're at this point. Are we doing the Kelvin?
We are talking about the Kelvin timeline films, which are the reboot films.
Oh, damn. I don't like this because I don't even know how to start this. Get to the chopper. I don't know how to do this. This one I don't know exactly how to start off with. Okay, let me talk to you for a minute. Okay, so we got the Kelvin timeline. Okay, now we got the reboot. Okay, that's good. Okay, so see, and it sounds stupid. I don't even think that's not even close to being him. I just sound like an idiot. God, I hate this so fucking much, man. I do. He's like, okay, Arnold, okay, let's talk about these. Okay. See, and then I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to sound like him, and then I sound like, it's like, I don't know if I sound Jamaican or I sound something totally different. I don't get it. Can we just try another one? Please. This is not the one I really want to start with. I feel like, at least with the deep voice, you had a little bit of an advantage.
I will give you a pass and we'll spin it again. Okay. I don't know why the volume didn't work on this one, but
it's just hard. It's just hard to like get into a mode of doing that.
The volume went down. That's why. All right, let's do it again because now we should have the volume of the spin.
Okay. Yep, there it is. Please, for the love of God, please let it not be Arnold again. Please. Please.
I don't know if this one's much better.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
You got Yoda.
What the? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Oh, my God. I really hate this one because I don't even know how. Okay. I know. And the problem is I always fuck this up. Okay. No, damn it. It's just too much pressure for me, especially with you watching me, you weirdo. Rockin' and
not that Yoda.
No, I know. Okay, I'm gonna try. Oh, I always think of Misa, but that's Jar Jar.
Jar Jar.
I know. Oh, this is so hard. Like the deep voice. Shit, I could have done that. That would have been easy for me. Fuck, you always give me the hard
If it was easy, it would be a challenge.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm just trying to think of. Just give me a little something real quick. Just so I
All
can.
right, let me go into the.
Yes, just start talking.
Let me go into the Kelvin timeline. So if you don't know what the Kelvin timeline is, basically the newer Star Trek films, which is the Chris Pine Star Trek movies. So it's Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. That's 2009, 2013, and 2016. These ones initially were supposed to be reboots, and then they were like, no. We're just going to move them into a different timeline. So now they still exist in a different time. So basically the Kirk and the Picard and the Spock and all the, not Picard, but, all of the characters from the original that they rebooted, they're just a different timeline version of all these characters.
Oh, you don't say. Yes. Okay. So, when you look at the Kelvin timeline, fuck, I'm sounding like a leprechaun. I'm so bad. I can't even keep my face straight. I'm trying to look at you. Shit. I'm like, I sound like a goddamn leprechaun. I can't even do it, man.
I think it makes me think of like the actual leprechaun. You stole me gold.
Like I'm gonna board it to you.
I actually think of like the leprechaun movies, like you stole me gold. Return me gold.
He's like, I'm gonna kill you, bitch.
All you needed to do is like rhyme like he does in those movies.
I know, and I felt like that's the problem, and I'm like, damn it, I don't. That's the problem. I just haven't heard it in so long.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I tried, man. I'm terrible at it. I never said I was great at this whole thing. I mean, it was tough because it is a challenge. I understand, but. Shit, like it's not. Trust me, if you think mimicking all this, like there are certain accents and stuff I don't mind doing. I never said I was the greatest at every single one. Oh my god.
Oh gosh, that was
bad. I told you that. I'm glad I made you laugh, but that was a terrible. That was a terrible.
But yes. The Calvin, basically what they did was instead of making it like a full reboot, so instead of like we're gonna use Chris Pine as a brand new. James T. Kirk, and we're going to use, what was his name? Jeremy Quinto?
As Zachary Quinto, yeah.
Zachary Quinto as, a new Spock. No, instead, we're going to use them into this new Kelvin timeline. So now they're basically the same people, just on a different timeline. Much like, Marvel or DC has done.
Well, yeah,
where there's different, they're different versions of them. Which they're not the William Shatner; they're just a different version.
Well, and see, to me, it's like they never needed to go down that route. If they were going to reboot, they should have just said, "Hey, this is the reboot," and they would have been fine doing that. You know what I mean? Because they did one in 09, 13, and 16. Now, granted, they're never going to make another one, especially with these cast members and stuff like that, but. I mean, if you never would have called it the Kelvin timeline, I don't think people would have been as they were when when these films came out. Because why would you separate everything that you've already done to be like, okay, you know what, we're just gonna pull a book from Marvel and do a whole X-Men shit and just make your timelines all fucked up.
Yeah. So, and I guess initially, they used the new reality, I guess, was generally referred to as the Abrams verse or the JJ Trek or New Trek before it was named Kelvin, the Kelvin timeline. And this was kind of versus the Prime timeline or, anything else. And this was the name, I guess, initially comes from the USS Kelvin, which was the starship involved in creating the new timeline. And this is where J.J. Abrams named after his grandfather, Henry Kelvin. So the Kelvin timeline,
So it had some significant meaning. Okay, so that's good, I guess. But
has been used for the collective term for the reboot films by Paramount. So this is like what Paramount's actually calling these movies right now is, the
no, I know, but
Kelvin timeline. But it's weird because like the screenwriter actually used the term reboot because he said that that's what the press calls it, even though he didn't feel like it was accurate. But it's like it continues in an alternate timeline. It's weird, and it doesn't,
it doesn't make sense.
None of it really does make sense. I mean, you can say all day, like, it's fresh. It has vibrant visuals. There's strong chemistry beyond, between the cast, and is it really successful introduction of the franchise to a new generation of fans? I don't know. I mean. It definitely made Star Trek like feel interesting because there was more action.
Yes, but I was going to say what they should have done, right? Because what did they do first? They made the TV show, and then they created the movies and so forth later on. I'd say, right? And granted, this was back in 2009 when they decided to do this. What they should have done is made a TV show first. Seen how well it was going to do with maybe some of those actors and actresses that they had.
You know what the choices of this show, of these movies, like remind me of? When they made Power Rangers.
Oh, you mean the new one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You mean when Goldar was literally a pile of gold?
Right.
And like not actually what Goldar was supposed to look like?
That's kind of like what these films remind me of. Like you make those look like kind of same choices.
No, I agree.
Like, hey, we should choose somebody who sort of looks like Spock and make him look exactly like Spock.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and then it's like,
and then we should choose somebody who looks nothing like Kirk, and choose him. How about Chris Pine? Well, he looks nothing like Kirk. Exactly.
Well, or just
that's perfect.
Well, I mean, if you think about, like, well, no, I mean, well, because
you know what I'm saying, like, oh, Zachary Quinto, like he looks like a younger version of Spock, exactly. And then you have Chris Pine, who looks nothing like. It's like that's perfect.
Well, I mean, and then you start. I can't remember all of the changes that they might have done between like the first and even the last film here, but like and I'm only going to bring this up as like. When you have, let's say, for example, like a major plot point. So when you bring up Power Rangers, for example, how Rita Repulsa is supposed to be the Green Ranger, which is never the case in any of the damn shows. Yeah. And now you see that. But now if you look at the movies, I can't remember exactly an instance where they changed the fucking, it's this versus that. But I'm assuming they probably did in the movies. I can't remember one off the top of my head.
They did a similar thing where in I believe in one of the movies, because of the radiation that was in the ship.
Yeah.
It was like they kind of like isolated it into like a small area.
Yeah.
And initially it was Spock that went in because his body can handle the radiation.
Right.
And, obviously Kirk was on the outside of it. And, they had this moment where they were both touching the glasses as Kirk died. I mean, as Spock died in there.
Yeah.
In the movie, it was the opposite.
It was what? Kirk in there and then Spock holding?
Because Kirk went in there and Spock was on the outside. So it's like, yeah, it was exactly like the opposite, but it was because Kirk, it was because Kirk took like whatever, like this like serum stuff that was like whatever the other guy had, like it made his body like different.
Huh.
So yeah, it was, yeah. But yeah, the movies, I didn't particularly, they were okay, but they weren't great to me.
Well, they're not jaw-dropping. They're not like the same hype as, you're watching the original series or even some of the older films or like even the Next Generation stuff, whatever. Right. It's not, they're trying to recreate that same magic. I think that's the problem with what I would say from the early 2000s all the way till now. They have tried to recreate magic from all the oldies of things, and they just don't get it. And they don't get to that same hype because they can't. Because there was a special uniqueness to
Well, it's because
those things.
Star Trek had a formula.
Right.
They had the TV show for years, not just like one series, that was like, oh, we went 1 or 2 years. Oh, we went 3 years. Let's do a movie now. No. They went at least 7 or more seasons. Like they went a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking, several seasons before they did a movie. And you can't just do a new Star Trek and think like, oh, people are going to love this.
No.
Not Star Trek. No.
No.
Getting into this movie, because we talked about this, I think one of the last times that we recorded.
Either that or we might have just seen it.
We talked about it after we were done, but I still haven't seen this, but I completely missed it because I didn't even know it was a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, actually,
and it's on Paramount. And if you look at the title, Star Trek is written in really small writing within the word Section 31.
Because the movie's called Section 31.
Right. It's written literally in the word section. And if you look at the word section, it's written, I think, within like the T or the I. It's like it's literally written within the word, and it's like, oh, this is a Star Trek movie. But then when you watch the preview, it's like, oh yeah, it is. But it's based on the Discovery series. That's where the movie's based on. But it's like a direct to Paramount Plus.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, if you're going to think about it like this, I mean, I would say moving forward, you're probably going to start seeing that more. Because, I mean, I'm just going to say it because if you're going to think about the future, films aren't going to be, I mean, they're going to be existing, but what I'm saying is like going to the movie theaters.
I'm just not interested in watching it. I mean, the only redeeming thing would be Michelle Yeoh.
No, I get what you're saying, yes. But all I'm saying is I would say that movie theaters are going to die. And so at some point, they're going to have to start streaming this shit. So they're going to start doing this at some point.
All right. So I would say let's start talking about our series that we put into ChatGPT. So basically what we did, and I think we're going to start probably doing whole episodes on this.
Well, I would also say like maybe segments, from whatever it may be too, because I mean we'll figure it out. But yes, what we're trying to think of is so like different series, different franchises. We're going to start looking at what could be a cool idea. So like instead of like taking ready, here we go, guys. Taking the blueprint of a show,
right?
But adding our own twist to it, right? And so that way you can be like, wow. So like for example, this, right? So Matt's already done the whole, can you give me a summary of what the show might be called? What is the show called? Like,
so yeah, I mean, I have like
like all the way through.
Yeah, I have the summary, like the mission, the main arc, and I have
even the characters.
I have the characters and photos, which we can post. We'll post the photos. I'll try to find a way to get all these photos on.
Well, I mean, and not only that, I mean, it goes down again. It creates literally. Basically archetypes, like you're looking at like kind of like a mini bio of each one, the names, like it went into detail a lot.
And I think this would be a pretty damn good show.
I would say for a newer one for sure, like a nice reboot and brand new anything, like a totally like off everything, not next generation.
It's not even it's just a new show.
Well, that's
in
what
general.
I mean.
Just
it's not like the other shows. It's literally its own thing.
It's its own thing, and so we'll get into it. So basically, the name of the show would be Star Trek: Echoes of the Void.
See, that sounds very Star Trek-y to me. So that sounds like a great start.
Yes, and this is like so basically it goes like this. It's a bold new chapter in the Star Trek universe, blending deep space exploration, political intrigue, and an existential mystery that threatens the fabric of reality itself. So when I'm looking at the whole thing, to me, I think to tell the story, like you definitely would need multiple seasons of this.
Now, to me, no, you're not going to just need 4 seasons and call it done. I would say depending on the show.
You would need at least one full season before this whole crew gets even inside this void.
Oh, no, I know. But what I'm going to say is this. I would say if you could get a solid, and I'm going to push it, I'm saying 8 to 10 seasons out of this, if the writing was done properly and everything else, you could do that. You could make it as long as you could.
Even if you put the maximum of 7, which is what most of these, like, Next Gen had 7, Voyager had 7, Deep Space Nine. Even if you did the maximum of 7, this show could definitely do it.
Oh no, that's what I mean. But like I said, if I was only pushing the whole 8 to 10 thing, now granted, I understand 10 is like usually like, ooh, that's a shit ton. That's usually a lot for a TV show. But even if you could get 8. A good solid 8 seasons out of this. I mean, let's say each season was, I don't know, let's say 20 episodes. 20, screw it. We'll say 20 episodes ish, right? Because some like let me rephrase this. Let's say the first season was 10 episodes, just to get you the introduction, right? Because most TV shows would do like a 10, usually about 10, 8 to 10.
I think with the cost of a show like this, you probably would get about 10.
Right. But let's say, depending on
average, you probably would get about 10. But I think
even if you got 15, 20, like depending on,
I don't think you would get that many, but
well, it would depend. I mean, it would, and I'm only saying it would depend is because let's say they did 10 first and then they did 10 another part of it. So then they're still doing that second, still they're doing the second season as a whole. You know what I mean? They could always split it up. That's not really
it would really depend. But I mean, I definitely think like the episodes can be individualized, like self-contained stories.
Oh, you mean like the original?
Not like the whole show would not just be one complete, like, from episode 1 to episode 10 or whatever the last episode is, like that's one whole story. No, I think you could have one whole story, but like episode, 7 or 4 could be an individualized story within that whole episode, much like you do have your like Law and Orders or your FBI's, like,
right. Or even taking the original series of Star Trek, because that's what they were doing. And then sometimes they would occasionally, they would somehow interact and they would somehow connect, but it wasn't all the time, so like, that's where, yes, I agree with Matt, because I'm like, yeah, you would want to have an episode where you could just dive right in and be like, oh, okay, so this is totally different. It does nothing to do with the next day. And then, you go from there. And then that's where we're saying, like...
the little Easter eggs that you can put in that episode would connect to the main plot of the season.
Right, that could be,
but the idea behind the episode is completely, random and completely individualized. It has nothing to mainly do with the plot of the season. Just... it's individual. It's on its own. But we'll get into the show summary. So this would be set in the late 25th century. So Star Trek Echoes of the Void follows the USS Vanguard, a cutting-edge exploratory vessel equipped with an experimental quantum warp technology.
Oh, boy.
So Captain Cassian Voss, this is Oscar Isaac.
As they chose him.
Yes. And his diverse crew are tasked with venturing beyond the known boundaries of space into an uncharted region known as the Null Expanse. This is a void where space behaves unpredictably, time fractures, and entire civilizations have vanished without a trace.
See, to me, even without knowing, let's say Star Trek, right? If you had no knowledge in this so far, you could literally just jump right into this and just start watching it without ever watching any of the originals, nothing. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this right now, is because you don't have to be a longtime fan. You could literally just, hey, I'm going to do that. Oh, there's an original series? Oh my God. And then they go back and they watch that, and then they watch the next generation. You know what I'm saying? So like, it can be a series that doesn't have to be following said patterns of the originals and the newer and stuff.
What I could find interesting too is like, if you took the show Discovery and you literally took out USS Vanguard, Captain Cassian Voss, and replaced the 25th century and replace that information with Discovery information, you literally could have a new season and a new show with the Discovery show with this information.
You could.
And you could have a whole new fucking direction with that whole cast and crew.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The whole beauty of this can go in either direction.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. And as long as you can get the more content out of this.
So do you want to tackle the mission?
Yeah, I will tackle the mission. So, the mission. To investigate strange energy readings detected deep within the expanse and uncover the truth behind a phenomenon known as the echo. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was what we were going for. A repeating signal that predates the oldest known civilizations and seems to be calling out. Calling out for what? I don't know. They better not be calling out for you, Matt, because that glowing button over there better not be fucking popping up again. You understand me?
I don't know. Not yet.
It better not be.
Yet.
Yeah, you better cool
next
it.
time.
Maybe next time. It better not be right now. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, you know what? I'm gonna jump into this one. You know what? Just because I just feel like you've done enough talking for a little bit, and you pissed me off with this whole fucking stupid shit you made me do a second ago. So the main arc here.
Hey, you didn't finish.
What do you mean I didn't finish? Oh, there is a second part.
There is a second part to that.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. But as they travel deeper, the Vanguard's crew begins to experience impossible phenomena. Fractured timelines, echoes of the lost worlds, and encounters with shadowy entities that seem to exist outside of time itself. What begins as a scientific mission soon becomes a desperate struggle for survival and a race to prevent a cosmic event that could rewrite the fabric of the universe.
Yep.
And that's the mission.
That's the mission. So the main arc.
Oh, no, you don't. No. I told you I was doing. No, I told you.
You can take the first three. I'll take the last.
Right then.
All right.
Anyways, the main arc, as he was trying to explain, the echo signal, right? We got the Vanguard traces this mysterious transmission that predates the Federation itself. What is it sending and why? Good question.
It's a good question.
Because I don't know. We'll find out. Then you got fractured reality. The crew starts experiencing deja vu, alternate versions of themselves and visions of futures that were never there. I don't know. And then you got the vanished civilizations. Ancient, abandoned space stations filled with the skeletons of unknown species hint a terrifying pattern. This could be an opportunity to do pure Star Trek television with landing parties and exploration and research, etc. Or fun, weird, lost, and scary civilizations. I mean, so far, like we've been saying.
Yeah, I mean, this
so
is
many
where,
directions that they could go.
This is where, like, you really get this idea of, like, the original series when they were, like, you know, one planet would be like the Wild West, and then the other planet was like,
it could be World War II
Rome and
or whatever.
Yeah.
No, again, you could take
obviously
elements.
you wouldn't get to that point. I mean, it would be like, but you could find a planet that was like Earth 1960s, and then
that's what I'm saying is like you have the opportunity to take elements. I can't even speak today. The elements of like the original, maybe some of the next generation, like you have the capability. You have the blueprints. You could literally change it up and still be new and make this whole thing work. You can take elements of everything else, but you're not stealing the ideas from the original. You're just taking certain things from it. And then on top of that, you're making it your own. And then you get to basically kind of play around with some of the ideas and then see where it goes. I mean, because that's the beauty of that right there. Go ahead, tell me what the Watchers are. You know.
All right, so the Watchers, an enigmatic alien race that seems to be observing the Vanguard's mission, but refuses to intervene.
Hold on, before you go any further, why does that sound really familiar, Matt?
I didn't make it up.
I understand. But why does that sound familiar, Matt?
Because I believe the Watchers are in Marvel.
They sure damn are, and they do the exact same thing as this particular thing. So I'm just a little confused on why AI thought, hey, why don't we just throw it into Star Trek too while we're at it?
So, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, there are usually alien races that do this in Star Trek.
No,
so
I understand. Did they have to have the same fucking name? I mean, that's the only thing.
Hey,
I mean, they could have
name them whatever the fuck you want
the
to name
observers. I don't know, something different.
But they're named what they're doing. So, I mean, it makes fucking sense.
I mean, I get it. Just fucking stupid, it seems like. But anyways.
So the truth of the null expanse the crew discovers that the Expanse isn't just a void. It's a graveyard of entire realities where timelines collapse and die.
Okay.
A choice that reshapes the universe. So in the season finale, the Vanguard must decide whether to seal the Expanse forever or risk everything to harness its power for the Federation.
And see, that's all in the first season. It's all in the first season right there.
Or is it?
Or you're right. Or is it? Or is it basically could be the end of the show? Could be a lot of things. Again, this is all written. And then so far, no offense, I would watch it. And this is all AI generated.
Yeah.
And we're not even at the characters yet.
Yeah, we're not even in characters and conflicts. And I mean,
We're just showing you. This is just literally what it wrote to say, hey, this is what we think would be a good version of this.
It sounds like a damn good show.
No offense. It's better than any writer. Probably they could have came up with this fucking idea. I mean, Matt, how many writers do... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You probably don't know as many writers, I would say. But I mean, who... You can't tell me, meeting at least, let's say, some of the writers for some of these TV shows we watched. You think they would actually come up with this amount of detail for a show like this?
No.
No. And it would take years. I feel like it would take them years to come up with even a close idea to this. As close as they could. This took you how long? And this is just roughly?
It took me, it probably took me longer to write the prompt for ChatGPT to come up with this idea.
Okay,
but yes.
We'll say what, like 10 minutes?
Probably a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, probably, yeah. Because, it wasn't just like, hey, give me an idea for a TV show.
Well, no.
It was more of an in-depth, like
you had to write the prompt down, make sure
prompt
you know.
out, yeah, make sure. Yeah. The prompt was pretty in-depth to make sure that it gave me a show based on Star Trek's history and the characters. And, it took pretty long to get the right characters and their conflicts and their roles and stuff.
What I'm saying is, it's not going to take you years.
No, it definitely won't. It definitely won't.
It took you maybe years. if you had to probably say all this, it would say what, maybe a day.
If I had to do it from scratch, from my imagination, it would take me much longer.
No, longer, right? Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you had AI, generating help for you in this case, if you had like right now, like we're reading, I would say it would. It'd take you a few hours for sure, maybe to try to get everything what you needed to do and all that stuff.
And if I was doing it for a real TV show, I would definitely do rewrite to make sure, I don't quite like this, so I would change this to this or, do certain things. But, that's kind of that. But all right, let's get into some character roles and conflicts. So I will go with Captain Cassius Voss. That's with a V, Foss. That's Oscar Isaac. He looks very captainy in this picture.
He does, and so I know you guys can't see it, but yes, hopefully later on we can definitely show you these pictures. But
the description of him kind of reminds me a lot of Captain Pike. So I think he's kind of like a mixture of like Captain Pike and Captain Kirk. Like he's kind of like, I guess, like the mixture of the two of them put together.
So level-headed, but also rebellious at the same time.
So basically what it says for him is he's battle-tested, pragmatic leader, haunted by past decisions, but dedicated to never making them again. He struggles with Starfleet's scientific, in quotes here, study and research first ideals versus the harsh realities of deep space survival. Feels a growing connection to the Echo as if it's speaking directly to him. Mm-hmm. So I think for him, he's kind of like, he's kind of like Kirk in that he understands like how...
Well, the decisions need to be made quick. Right? Versus like, I feel like Pike, I'm not saying that he's not a good leader. He's very logical. Now I'm saying, I know he follows the rules and he does all that, but I feel like his second.
He was also haunted by past decisions.
Right. What I'm saying is that it sucks with Pike is all I'm going to say is like, because we talked about it in the past, is like, he may not be as quick to react as much, where I feel like Kirk has that ability to be like, yep, I know this might get me into trouble, but I'm doing what's best for my crew and myself right now. So let's get this going.
And I think this is where he's kind of the same, like he's kind of like a mixture of both of them, where he doesn't want to make those same decisions that's haunting him in the past. So he has that kind of like we're not just going to stand back and just like
Let them destroy us.
research this.
Yeah.
You know, deep space survival is harsh, and we need to understand this, and we're going to go into action.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And
Which is where the first officer comes into play.
Jessica Chastain, but yes, that's who plays her. But it's Commander Evelyn Locke. She's the first officer. She's a by-the-book Starfleet officer who clashes with Voss's instinct-driven type of leadership. Her past research into subspace anomalies make her suspect. The Federation is withholding vital information about the null expanse. Begins experiencing visions of a future where she betrays the crew. Why? You know, and so I think with her, I think it'd be interesting to see where, you know, if she's basically Spock.
She has that resting bitch face.
Oh no! Yeah. In this photo, I mean,
in that photo, like she has that like.
Oh yeah, no, she's definitely.
She has that Karen face.
She's like, "What are you doing now? Yeah. Why the fuck are you doing it? Why are you making my job harder?" Is what she's basically saying. I mean, so if you think about it, Spock was really his first or his second in command, right? Now, granted, he was science and research and doing that. She's not clearly, or she's not. So she's kind of like it's almost like. Because Spock would have been both her and this next guy, or sorry, let me rephrase it. Not the next guy; it's another woman. Again, I apologize.
No, I think the first officer, Evelyn Locke. I think she's just your by the book Starfleet officer who's just she follows what the orders given to her.
No, right. But what I'm saying is for her position, it's not like she has a specific job. Besides really just kind of like following whatever, Voss is saying in this sense. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
Where in Spock in this case he was the first officer as well, but he also was a science officer. So he had a dual role is what I'm saying, where she's only having that one role. So she's having to just kind of deal with that leadership kind of aspect where, she's not just, okay, I'm a science officer as well. Like, oh, okay, well, I don't have that, Where this next woman, though.
Oh, yeah. So she.
This is where we get a little weird and creeped out by this.
I don't, for the life of me, I don't know what ChatGPT has against Tilda Swinton, but I think she just has maybe that look to her that I don't know. But so Tilda Swinton they picked her to be the science officer. She is Lieutenant Commander Seraphis. And I don't know where the name comes from, but that's what they named it. She is a Vulcan-Cairn hybrid. If you don't know what a Cairn is, you can look it up. I'm not going to explain it.
I guess I'll have to look it up then.
But she's a Vulcan-Cairn hybrid. So it makes her one of the most logical, but also deeply empathetic beings in Starfleet. She becomes obsessed with understanding and studying the Echo, convinced that it's not a distress call, but an invitation. She begins remembering things she's never experienced, alternate lives, different timelines. But she's the science officer.
So what I find I had to look up what a Cairn was. I didn't realize they were a humanoid telepathic species who had no concept of spoken language. The Cairn basically had no vocal cords. So they basically could talk to you through their minds, is what basically this is.
Yes.
So, I mean, looking at the photo, I saw the photo of what a Cairn looks like. Kind of. They kind of...
She doesn't have that
weird, wrinkly...
The Cairn look to her, but she definitely has the Vulcan.
Well, with the ears, yes. No, yeah. I can see that. Maybe, because the weird thing is, and this is the reason why we're going to say this, is Tilda Swinton, they just love making her...
She looks like an alien already, but...
Well, no, what I was going to say is, like I said, Marvel just likes making her barely a man who shouldn't, again, it's a white man in the movie, but not going to go there. It's just interesting that ChatGPT was like, we're just going to do that. No, I
think they're just picking on her,
but yes, no, hold on, don't you start. So yes, the next guy.
I'm very excited for this.
I know. And that's why
very excited. This one is so perfect.
Yes, I know. So we're gonna say it. David Tennant. Okay, he's one of the doctors of Doctor Who as well, and he's played in many other movies and TV shows. But he is basically like Bones of the old school ways. But he's the chief medical officer in the show. His name is Dr. Alden Graves. Now, in the photo here, you never would have believed it, because like David Tennant, like as a whole, when you see him in movies, he's just wacky. Like he's kind of all over the place. Not sometimes he's serious, sometimes he's not. But like in this, it's weird because he's got a nice haircut. He's well trimmed. He's this and that. So it's just kind of weird to see him like play kind of a serious role like this. But basically, he's a genius physician with a dark sense of humor. Yeah, hiding a tragic past. As crew members begin experiencing mental instability and shifts in personality, he tries to hold them together. Receives cryptic message from himself, a version of him that didn't survive the mission. So that's interesting as itself. So again,
that's very Doctor Who.
That's very Doctor Who. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's weird how they're doing that, but I think he would do well. I think, and this is where we're saying, like,
I definitely think he would do well in that role, especially just the way that he played Doctor Who and with the dark sense of humor and like, I think it's just well suited.
And then you got this guy who I never would have thought.
You're going to take him away from me?
No, I'm going to let you take him. No, I was just saying, I never would have thought they would have chose this guy.
I think he's perfect though. I mean, so this guy, he was, and I don't know the particular tribe that he was in.
Basically, he was the gorilla tribe or whatever you want to call it. It was in Black Panther.
Yes. So he plays a Klingon security chief, Lieutenant Commander Cade Mbega.
I'm pretty sure, actually, not to interrupt, but in Black Panther, his name is M'Baku. That was his name.
Well, it's Mbega in this.
Well, not too far off from the name.
Not too far off. So Cade Mbega. The actor playing him is Winston Duke. And he does, I mean, the forehead's a little bit different from, I guess, what you would typically see like on like an actual, Klingon, because obviously I didn't quite do the Klingon forehead right, but it gives you kind of an idea. But he's a tactical genius and master strategist, but deeply superstitious about the Expanse, has reoccurring nightmares of leading the crew into an unwinnable battle, finds evidence that someone or something is already on board the Vanguard, hiding among them.
They have a traitor. And it's just telling you, they all have something going on with them, whether they like it or not.
I know, and this is all. I mean, this is like all ChatGPT. Like it's like it has everything.
I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna let you take this next one because I'm gonna take the phone.
Oh boy, you want?
I want the good one. I want just one good one. Good one. Go ahead.
You just don't want to pronounce her name.
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Say what's her name, man? I know what her name is. I'm just wondering if you knew.
I'm gonna say Lieutenant Elora Jin.
That's good. That's how I would say it. Yeah.
She is the Communications and Operations Officer.
Well, who's playing her?
Gemma Chan.
Yes, who was also, was in Shang-Chi.
Yes.
And was she in? Oh, no, she wasn't in Shang-Chi. It was Eternals.
Eternals, yes.
Sorry. She was in Eternals. Basically, all you need to know.
There is somebody in the actual guy that was.
But we'll get
a little bit later on. Yeah. She was in Eternals. But she plays the Communications and Operations Officer. She is a linguistic prodigy and first contact specialist. The echo signal causes her to hear voices, not hallucinations, but overlapping transmissions from parallel universes. Deciphers an ancient warning, turn back or become the echo.
I mean, that makes sense for her anyways, because she's probably the only one that's going to actually understand that. So, look, moving forward here, because, we got to know all these people, since I know Matt was like, oh, you want to get the good ones, huh? Well, I mean, no offense. When you see Charlie Day, okay.
I think just the name is funny.
Charlie Day. Well, yes. His actual name is Lieutenant Zeke O'Malley.
Zeke. with Zeek.
And then, so he's the chief engineer. He'd basically be the Scotty of the crew.
And the picture is just amazing.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's probably the only one that you're looking at and you're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
And
What is he so shocked at? Like, what did he just hear that he was like, oh my gosh?
I mean, well, again, if the show was a real thing, then we would know.
Yeah.
So he's a brilliant but chaotic engineer who thrives under pressure. Yeah, that's usually him anyways, especially in like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia kind of a deal. His experimental modifications to the Vanguard's warp core makes it the only ship capable of navigating through the expanse. And then realizes too late that the ship's technology is attracting something from beyond space-time. So basically, he's the one causing a lot of the bullshit.
Oh boy!
So Charlie
that's probably why his face looks like that.
He's like, oh shit, I know exactly what's going on here, Scotty. And then, yes, the final character. Question is who's going to take him? I'll just do it. It's fine. All right. So he's like, fuck, fine.
Well, there's a lot of weird.
Nah, I know.
Weird names to say on this one, so I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. So Simu Liu. Okay, this is the guy who played Shang-Chi.
Yes.
In the movie. His name is Lieutenant Kyle. Maybe Kyle. I'm thinking Kyle.
I'm gonna say Kale.
Kyle. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. We'll say Lieutenant Kale Rowe. Okay. He's the helmsman and the pilot. So he's a thrill-seeking daredevil, formerly a test pilot for Starfleet's experimental ships. First to notice that the subtle inconsistencies in the Vanguard's navigation logs, small jumps backwards in times, and course corrections, but that no one made. And he now faces the ultimate pilot's challenge, flying a ship through a collapsing reality. So again, you got the engineer and now a pilot, or the helmsman. These two should be working close in hands right now with a lot of shit going on, especially the goddamn engineer, since he's the one causing a lot of the shit that these guys are already facing in the back of their heads right now.
Yeah.
Especially with all the memories and, all that shit that they realize that, I don't know, is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. It depends.
Yeah. And this, like I said, I think a first season, like they might not even get into the expanse in the first season, because I think you would have to first, kind of see them.
Well, you got to build the characters, man. You got to build their stories.
You would have to first kind of see like the Vanguard doing what they do normally for Starfleet.
Yeah.
Them being called in and them kind of dealing with all of the political nonsense with Starfleet of them going, okay, well, we have this
ship,
this issue. You're the only ones. And then you spend like a lot of time of them like dealing with like the issue of you want us to risk our lives to go out there, and then.
Well, yeah, because let's say they're all, they all come from different backgrounds, whether they're misfits or they're, maybe too rebellious, or maybe they're just,
or maybe something's coming out of the expanse and causing issues in real space outside. So they have to,
they got to be
decide how they're going to get, so there could be more issues that are happening before they even get into the expanse. And then maybe season 2 is like, the end of season 1, they actually go into they go in there.
Yeah, right at the end.
And then right at season 2,
they come out.
Is when you actually find out, like, that they're actually inside the expanse and inside the void. And this is where the show really starts to take off, because now they're visiting all these like different weird worlds. Places, and they're going back in time and forward in time,
and that's why I was saying about like building the characters, understanding their stories, like, or at least getting a feel to understand where they're coming from.
Well, and this is like it's the perfect opportunity to do that, because like you could do this with the Expanse, where like each place that they go to could be somewhere that is like specific for each of these characters.
True.
Like you could go somewhere where it's just like the pilot's like somewhere maybe the pilot used to live, or somewhere like maybe Zeke had thought like in his head, and somehow the Expanse made it a reality. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? It could, it's anything, but the potential themes and influences it's like existential horror meets classic Trek. So if you think, I don't know if anybody has seen The Expanse. I've seen it a little bit.
No.
And so it's kind of like The Expanse meets Event Horizon. Event Horizon's an older movie with a dose of Interstellar and Arrival. So Interstellar and Arrival are a little bit older movies. But it's kind of like those two, like The Expanse, Event Horizon, and then a little bit of Interstellar and Arrival, kind of like those movies put together. Exploration beyond the final frontier. So like what happens when Starfleet pushes too far? Like that's kind of like what we're seeing. Like they're making the USS Vanguard go into this expanse. So like what happens when they push too far? The nature of time and consciousness. Do memories shape reality? Are we destined to repeat history?
Well, see, I found that interesting because, depending on what TV shows you're looking at, I mean, sometimes they do. I'm not saying kind of follow that, but like the whole "are we destined to repeat history?" I mean, because that's just given, in any show. Like we're always bound to make some similar mistakes that we've already done. But the fact that it said, "Do memories shape reality?" So basically, does your past or your memories that you have, is that why they're thinking, or why let's say the missions or whatever that they're thinking of is becoming now a reality because of whatever they're doing? I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's simple, but it's brilliant in the sense of like, you literally can go anywhere with that, and you don't know. It could be random as shit. It doesn't have to be. You want to talk about cliffhangers? I mean, shit, you could have cliffhangers for days for some of these people.
Yeah. And then the ethics of discovery. Is it better to leave some mysteries unsolved?
Right, and just leave it there.
These are some of just the potential themes and influences, and then the season finale cliffhanger. The crew finally reaches the source of the Echo, a derelict space station outside of time filled with, versions of themselves, each from a doomed timeline where they failed. And the Echo isn't just a distress call, it's a warning from their future selves.
See, that I think that's kind of beauty in itself. Because the reason why I say that is because you could technically do that in the very beginning of the first season. Not in the beginning of the show, but like towards the end of the season. Or hell, you could do that at the very end of the show, like the actual like ending show, like series finale kind of a deal. Like, do you leave it on that? And then you really keep them guessing about certain things. Do you maybe you do another show down the road, or you just leave it there and you say, well, I guess we'll find out. Maybe not. And then leave it there, So, I mean, there's so many possibilities in that. So it makes sense. It just depends on how you want to do it. But then, see, now this is a little scene here. Just a little thrown out here. It says, Captain Voss receives one final message before everything collapses. You can't escape the void unless you become it. And it cuts to black. Now that right there could be a great season, or like a season finale for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you threw that at the very end of the show, like a series finale kind of a deal, like right at the end, that would be kind of bullshit.
I mean,
I'd be like, damn, that's kind of screwed up, man. You'd want to have some closure, but
Yeah.
And then, sorry. Yeah.
But I think, you put that all together, and outside of actually telling ChatGPT, like, hey, give us 10 episodes each with plots, and no.
I mean,
like,
you could,
but that would be like, outside of like, hey, now that we have like the idea of the show, like, give us breakdowns of each episode.
Yeah, like, this is where I feel like writers could at least try, to get something going, because now you already have the plot. You already have everything that you need.
We have, and this isn't like the whole cast of these are just like the officers. Like you would have
I would say these are more like the main characters of the show. Like, people that you're going to watch or see or whatever. You might have like guest appearances, or you might have whatever.
That's like the good guys. You would still have
the bad
somebody
guys
who would be a main villain,
right?
Villains.
And granted, they may not show up every episode.
No,
They might show up here and there depending on the.
I definitely think ChatGPT did a damn good job.
Oh no, I think it did an amazing job. I mean, for the fact that we asked it one question. I mean, granted, it was multiple pieces in the prompt, but to be like, hey, give me a show based on this, and then all the in betweens. I mean, you probably couldn't ask for, I would say, a newer, kind of fresh take on a Star Trek show. Like this, I think would be. But I think you need to go to Paramount and just pitch them this idea. I think that's exactly.
I think this would be a good show, and then once it a few seasons got off the ground and it really got kicked off, I could see this becoming a movie, and I could see this being really good, but. Again, I think we're at this point where we need to call it quits.
Are we now going to call it quits?
I think we need to call it quits.
Well, hold on. Before anything else, right? We just want to mention this one more time. Yes, you should go definitely check out Matt's, lovely artist page, Mr. Grumpy Beard. Actually, sorry, it's just Grumpy Beard. It's not Mr. It's just Grumpy Beard. Okay?
Just Grumpy Beard, yeah.
So, yes, you should go check him out. Check out his new album, little AI shit show here, like in everything else that he has in there. I mean, like I said, we already heard a little bit of the, basically the song, the title of the song, right? The whole AI shit show thing. You already heard a little bit of it. If you like it, check it out. Let him know, man. Tell him if he's I'm hoping that's not the case. You don't have to tell him he's a piece of shit, but just let him know if he did great or not. He's got to know something here.
There's a lot of good songs on the album. It's just a lot of fun. No, it's a lot of fun,
and that was the whole point. Just to have fun.
a lot of pooping everywhere and booger flicking, and it's a lot of fun.
A little dougla, a little this, little that.
It's a lot of fun. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go check out the album, and
I thought you were about to be like,
you'll figure it out.
I honestly thought you were going to be like, well, if you don't want to go check it out, just GFY, man. That's what I thought you were going to do.
If you want to figure out, the booger flicking and the pooping everywhere, just go check it out and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, fine. I will say this real quick. It's crazy that we've been doing this for so long, but, we just appreciate the hell out of you guys. Hopefully we'll keep this going. But until next time.
We're geeks from the multiverse.